This book found you, not the other way around. And if you've ever had the experience of a book appearing in your life at exactly the right moment, you already know what I'm describing. Not the moment you searched for it, not the moment someone recommended it, the moment it arrived before you knew you needed it, the moment it fell off a shelf and landed open at a page that answered a question you hadn't spoken out loud yet. The moment a stranger pressed it into your hands and said, "I don't know why, but I think this is for you." The moment you saw it in a window and felt something in your chest recognize it before your mind had time to form a thought. That is not coincidence. That is not random. That is your field. What I want to show you today is the precise mechanism by which that happens. Not the poetic version. The actual quantum mechanics of why certain things, certain books, certain people, certain conversations, certain exact words at the exact right moment arrive in your life when your field reaches a specific state, and why the same things were unavailable to you before that state, even if they were technically within reach. Because here is what most people never understand about synchronicity. It is not the universe being generous. It is your electromagnetic field becoming readable. It is your signal becoming coherent enough that the quantum field can assemble around it with precision. The book was always there. The information was always there. You became available to it. And that availability is a measurable shift in what your aura is broadcasting. This is the video where we go deep into what your field is doing in the specific moments before something extraordinary finds you. What changes in your electromagnetic signature when you cross the threshold from searching to being found? Why some people seem to be perpetually discovered by exactly what they need, and why others spend years reaching for the same thing without it arriving, and what you can do right now in your body, in your field, to shift into the state where the quantum field can read your readiness and respond. By the end of this transmission, you will understand something about the way your aura interacts with information, with objects, with people who carry what you need. That will permanently change how you move through the world. You will understand why you are watching this right now, and you will have a practice that puts you in the state where the right things stop being hard to find and start finding you. Let's begin with what actually happens when a book finds you. There is a phenomenon that researchers in the field of quantum cognition have been quietly circling for decades, and it touches something that most of us have experienced, but have no framework to explain. It is the phenomenon of non-local resonance between an information-carrying object and a prepared receiver. What that means in plain language is this: certain things carry a coherent informational field. Books, especially. A book that has been written from a state of deep coherence, that has been held by many hands in states of transformation, that carries within its pages a specific configuration of ideas that has the power to reorganize a mind. Such a book is not a neutral object. It has a field, not a metaphorical field, a real, measurable electromagnetic and informational field generated by the coherent mental states that produced it and the coherent emotional states of every person who has ever been changed by it. And your aura, your personal electromagnetic field, is constantly scanning, not consciously, not deliberately, but the way a radio antenna scans for a signal. It's been tuned to receive. Your field is in constant dialogue with the informational fields of everything around you. The question is not whether this scanning is happening. The question is whether your signal is coherent enough to recognize a match when it appears. This is where the science of your heart field becomes essential. Because the organ doing most of this scanning is not your brain, it is your heart. If this is landing for you, here's something I want to share before we go further into the heart field. Science. Have you spent years trying to feel lit up again? Visualizations, affirmations, vibration work, and the light still won't hold? Every one of those methods is telling you to push harder, do more, add another technique. It's not working, because the issue isn't that you don't have enough light. 6 specific patterns are sitting on top of it. They're called the frequencies of forgetting. The remembering field, a quantum guide to returning to the light. You forgot you were carrying walks through all 5 parts of getting those patterns off you. Every tool you used tried to add more light. This one lifts what's been sitting on the light you already carry. The longer you wait, the harder they get to clear. So go open it tonight. The link is in the pinned comment below. Now, back to the thread we were following. Into the heart, the field, and the precise science of how your signal becomes readable. The Heart Math Institute has spent more than 3 decades measuring the electromagnetic field generated by the human heart. And what they have found is extraordinary in its precision. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field that is measurably stronger than the field generated by your brain. Roughly 60 times stronger in terms of electrical amplitude, and up to 5,000 times stronger in terms of magnetic amplitude. This field extends in all directions from your body, measurably detectable at a distance of several feet, and it carries information, not just the rhythmic information of your heartbeat, but the emotional and cognitive patterning of your current inner state. When your heart rate variability, the rhythmic variation between each heartbeat, falls into a smooth, coherent sine wave pattern, something remarkable happens to the information your field is broadcasting. It becomes organized. It becomes readable. The chaotic, noisy, scattered signal of a heart in incoherence. The jagged, irregular pattern that stress and fear and suppression produce. That signal is broadcasting, but it is broadcasting static. The quantum field around you receives it the way you receive a radio station that's between frequencies. Fuzzy, unresolvable. It cannot assemble clearly around a static signal. But when your heart enters coherence, when that rhythmic pattern smooths into the elegant wave that heart math researchers call the coherence state, your field does something entirely different. It broadcasts with precision. The information in your field becomes organized enough that it can interact meaningfully with the organized informational fields of other things, other people, other places, other objects, books. This is the state in which the book finds you. Not because the universe suddenly decides to be generous, because your field has become readable, because the signal you're putting out has enough coherence that when it encounters a resonant field, the match is recognized. And that recognition moves through you as a feeling, a pull, a sense of knowing, the chest opening slightly, the eyes stopping on something they might otherwise have passed, the hand reaching without the mind deciding to reach. What most people experience as mysterious, as magical as the universe speaking, is their own coherent field in dialogue with the fields around them. The magic is real. The mechanism is quantum. Now I want to take you into something more specific, because understanding this in the abstract is useful, but feeling it in your body is what changes your broadcast. Think about the last time something found you. Not the last time you searched successfully. The last time something arrived without you reaching for it. A conversation that answered a question you'd been sitting with. A sentence you read that felt like it was written for you. A person who showed up at a moment when you needed exactly what they carried. A book. Notice what was happening in you in the days or weeks before that arrival. I'm not asking you to romanticize it. I'm asking you to look at it with the precision of a field scientist examining a signal. Because there is almost always a pattern. And the pattern is this. something in you had gotten quiet. Not empty. Quiet. There is a difference that matters enormously for your field. Empty is the state of depletion, of exhaustion, of having searched so long and reached so hard that there is nothing left. Empty produces incoherence. The heart in that state is jagged, irregular, broadcasting static. Things cannot find you when you are empty because your signal is noise. Quiet is different. Quiet is the state of having released the effortful search, of having, consciously or unconsciously, stopped grasping and settled into a kind of open receiving. Quiet is not passive. It is actually a highly active state at the level of your field, because when you stop the effortful, anxious reaching, your heart rate variability begins to smooth. The coherence state begins to emerge. Your signal clarifies. And a clear signal is a findable signal. This is why the book almost never arrives when you are desperate for it. Desperation is a coherence killer. The electromagnetic signature of your desperation is a scattered, high-frequency, irregular signal that broadcasts need without being able to receive response. It is the energetic equivalent of shouting into a phone with the speaker broken. The transmission is loud. The reception is zero. And this is why the book so often arrives in the aftermath of release. In the strange, tender, open space after you've stopped trying so hard. After a period of rest. After a conversation that shifted something. After a moment of unexpected gratitude or unexpected beauty that brought your heart into coherence without you planning it. In those moments, your field clears. And what was always there, the information that was always within your reach, becomes suddenly, precisely available. If what we're exploring together is landing for you, if you can feel the truth of it somewhere in your body, I'd love for you to like this video and subscribe so we can keep going deeper together. I want to tell you about two people. Their names are Mara and Declan, and their stories illuminate exactly what I'm describing in a way that I think will land in your body, not just your mind. Mara had been searching for 3 years. She was looking for something she couldn't name exactly. She knew it had to do with who she was before she learned to be who everyone needed her to be. She had read dozens of books, attended workshops, listened to hundreds of hours of teachings, and none of it had landed the way she felt it should. She could feel herself reaching, always reaching. and the reaching itself was exhausting. The more she searched, the more elusive the thing she was searching for became. She described it once as trying to catch water with her fists. The harder she gripped, the faster it escaped. What Mara didn't understand was that her searching was the problem. Not because searching is wrong, but because her searching had become anxious. It had become a signal of lack. Every book she picked up, she was broadcasting, "This isn't it." Every teaching she absorbed, her field was radiating, "Still not enough." And the quantum field, which responds to what you are broadcasting rather than what you are hoping for, was assembling around that signal, around the lack, around the not enough, which meant that even when she encountered something that could have changed her, her field was too noisy, too contracted, too locked in the frequency of searching without finding to actually receive it. Then something happened that Mara didn't plan. Her closest friend moved to another city. And in the weeks after that departure, Mara found herself with something she hadn't had in years: unstructured time. Time she didn't filled with searching. She walked. She cooked slowly. She sat in her garden in the early morning and did nothing in particular. She wasn't practicing anything. She wasn't trying to raise her frequency. She was simply, for the first time in years, not reaching. Her heart, without her conscious direction, began to settle. The coherence that had been suppressed by years of anxious searching began to emerge naturally, the way a river finds its flow when you stop damming it. Her field clarified, and 3 weeks into this unplanned quiet, she walked into a used bookshop to buy a gift for her friend. And a book she had never heard of fell from a shelf she wasn't standing near and landed open at a page that contained a single sentence that reorganized everything she thought she knew about herself. She stood there in that shop for a long time, not reading, just feeling her field respond. Because that's what happens when coherent information meets a coherent receiver. It doesn't feel like learning. It feels like remembering. It feels like something that was always true becoming suddenly, undeniably visible. Mara bought the book. She read it in 2 days. She described it afterward as the book she had been looking for 3 years. And it was. It had been there, in various forms, in various versions, in various words, throughout those 3 years. But she hadn't been available to it. Her field hadn't been clear enough to recognize the resonance. The moment her field cleared, the recognition happened instantly. The book found her. Now, Declan's story is different, and it's important because it shows the other side of this dynamic. Declan was not a searcher in the way Mara was. He was a skeptic, not hostile, but protected. He had built, over the course of his adult life, a very careful, very rational, very controlled relationship with information. He read what was useful. He absorbed what was practical. He had no interest in what he called the soft stuff, the inner work, the energy talk, the things that couldn't be measured. His field, as a result, was not chaotic the way Mara's was. It was contained, organized, but it was also, in a very specific way, closed. A closed field is not the same as an incoherent field. Declan's heart was not in chaos, but his electromagnetic field had developed what you might think of as a very narrow bandwidth. He was broadcasting on a limited range of frequencies, the frequencies of the practical, the rational, the already known. And a narrow bandwidth field can only attract what falls within that bandwidth. It is not a broken antenna. It is an antenna that has been deliberately emitted, tuned to receive only a small slice of the available signal. What cracked Declan open was not a spiritual experience. It was a crisis of the kind that tends to crack open even the most carefully contained fields. His body began to fail him in a way that his rational frameworks couldn't explain or fix. And in the particular vulnerability of that experience, something in his field shifted. The careful containment relaxed. Not because he decided to let it relax, because the energy required to maintain it was no longer available. And in that involuntary opening, his bandwidth expanded. He was sitting in a waiting room, the kind of waiting room where time moves differently, where the ordinary armor of daily life becomes briefly transparent. And there was a book on the table beside him, a book someone had left there. He picked it up without thinking, the way you do when you are waiting and have nothing else to do. He read the first page, then the second. Then he sat there for an hour and a half past his appointment time, reading. And the nurse had to come find him. He didn't have language for what happened in that waiting room. He still doesn't entirely. But what happened at the level of his field is describable. His bandwidth expanded, his signal opened, and the book that had been, in some sense, waiting for him was suddenly within the range of what his field could recognize. He was available to it, and it found him. Declan carried that book with him for a year. He read it 4 times. He said it was the only book that had ever felt like it was written specifically for him. Not because it was, because he was finally in the state to receive it. These two stories are not about the mystery of books. They are about the mechanics of readiness, about what happens in your field when you cross from unavailable to available. And I want to go deeper into that crossing now, because it is not as mysterious as it seems. It is not something that only happens to you in waiting rooms and bookshops by accident. It is something you can cultivate, something you can practice, something you can become so familiar with that you begin to live in the state of being found rather than the state of searching. There is a third person I want to bring into this conversation, because Mara and Declan together illuminate two of the most common field signatures that block findability: the anxious searcher and the closed skeptic. But there is a third signature that I encounter constantly, and it may be the most quietly devastating of all. The person who carries it often looks from the outside like someone who is doing everything right. Her name is Solene. Solene had been doing the work for years. She meditated every morning without exception. She journaled. She attended retreats. She had a vocabulary for her inner life that was precise and sophisticated. She could describe her emotional landscape with the kind of detail that made therapists nod slowly and say, "That's really good awareness." She read widely and deeply in the traditions that mattered to her. She was, by every visible measure, someone whose field should have been clear. But the books weren't finding her. The insights she was working so hard to cultivate kept arriving as concepts rather than as lived recognitions. She would read something and think, "Yes, that's true," and feel nothing shift. She would complete a practice and check herself afterward for signs of change and find the needle unmoved. She was doing everything she knew how to do, and the field was not responding the way she believed it should. What was happening in Solene's field was something subtle but structurally significant. Her practice had become a performance, not a dishonest one, not a cynical one. She genuinely wanted what she was practicing toward. But somewhere along the way, the practice had acquired a watcher, a part of her that stood slightly outside the experience, evaluating whether she was doing it correctly, measuring whether it was working, comparing her inner state to the inner state she believed she should be having. And that watcher, that internal evaluator, was generating a specific kind of field interference. Think about what happens to heart rate variability. Coherence, when you are simultaneously trying to feel something and monitoring whether you are feeling it correctly. The two impulses are physiologically contradictory. Genuine coherence requires a quality of unself-conscious presence, a falling into the experience rather than an observing of it from a safe distance. The moment you introduce the monitoring gaze, the part of you that is checking whether you're doing it right, you split your attention. And split attention produces split coherence. The signal becomes partially organized and partially static, not fully incoherent, but not fully clear, not broken, but not readable. Soline's field was like a photograph taken with a slightly shaking hand. The image was almost there. The subject was almost in focus. But the slight blur introduced by the monitoring gaze made the image unresolvable. The quantum field could not assemble clearly around it. What shifted for Soline was not a new practice. It was a single conversation with a friend who was not on any spiritual path at all. A friend who laughed easily and cooked elaborate meals and had no particular interest in her own electromagnetic field. They were sitting in this friend's kitchen late on a Tuesday evening, and Soline was not practicing anything. She was not monitoring herself. She was just there, in the warmth of that kitchen, eating something her friend had made, laughing at something that wasn't particularly funny, but was funny in the way things are funny when you are genuinely relaxed. And in that unmonitored moment, something she had been trying to understand for 2 years simply arrived. Not as a thought, as a knowing, a reorganization, the kind that doesn't require words because it happens below the level where words operate. She didn't tell her friend what had happened. She didn't need to. She just sat with it in the warmth of that kitchen and let it land. And the next morning, she picked up a book she had read twice before without it opening for her, and it opened. The same words she had read twice before were different now. Not because the words had changed, because she had, because her field had, in that unmonitored kitchen on a Tuesday evening, finally gotten out of its own way. The Watcher is one of the most common field dimmers I know of, and it is particularly common in people who are genuinely committed to their growth. Because commitment, without the willingness to be unself-conscious, becomes performance. And performance, however sincere, introduces the monitoring gaze. And the monitoring gaze splits the signal. The antidote is not to stop practicing. It is to practice without watching yourself practice. to fall into the experience rather than standing at its edge, measuring the temperature of the water. This is harder than it sounds, but it becomes easier when you understand what you're actually doing. You are not trying to achieve a state. You are trying to get out of the way of a state that is already available. The coherence is not something you build. It is something you uncover. And the monitoring gaze is one of the things that keeps it covered. Has your field ever gotten out of its own way? Has there been a moment when you stopped trying to have an experience and simply had one? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. What was the moment, and what was happening in you when the watcher went quiet? Let me show you what readiness actually looks like at the level of your electromagnetic field. There is a specific quality of coherence that researchers at the HeartMath Institute describe as heart-brain synchronization. This is different from ordinary heart coherence, though it builds from it. In ordinary heart coherence, your heart rate variability smooths into a rhythmic, organized pattern. This is measurable with a simple sensor. But in heart-brain synchronization, something more complex happens. The rhythmic pattern of your heart field begins to entrain the electrical activity of your brain. The two systems, which normally operate somewhat independently, begin to pulse in a synchronized rhythm. And when this happens, something changes in the quality of your perception. You become more sensitive to subtle information, not in a mystical sense, in a measurable neurological sense. The synchronized state produces what researchers describe as increased intuitive access, which in practical terms means that your nervous system becomes better at detecting and responding to signals that fall below ordinary conscious awareness. The weak signals, the quiet ones, the book on the shelf that your eye passes over 100 times in a scattered state, but stops on in a coherent one. This is the neurological basis of being found. In a scattered, incoherent state, your brain is too noisy to detect the quiet signal of resonance. The book is there. The relevant conversation is happening nearby. The person who carries what you need is in the same room. But the signal-to-noise ratio in your own nervous system is too poor to detect the match. You walk past it. You miss it. Not because it wasn't available, because you weren't available. In the synchronized state, the signal-to-noise ratio improves dramatically. The quiet signal of resonance becomes detectable. Your eyes stop. Your hand reaches. Your attention is drawn without your conscious mind directing it. And this is what the experience of being found actually is. It is your coherent nervous system detecting a resonant field and responding to it before your conscious mind has time to form a thought. The quantum field is not choosing you. You are becoming readable to it. You are becoming sensitive enough to read it. And both of those things happen in the same state, the state of heart-brain synchronization, the state of coherent, open, quiet readiness. What is worth understanding more precisely here is what heart-brain synchronization actually feels like from the inside, because most descriptions of it stay at the level of the measurable and skip the phenomenology entirely. And the phenomenology is where you will actually recognize it in your own experience. In ordinary waking consciousness, there is a quality of slight friction between what you feel and what you think. You feel something, and your mind immediately begins to interpret it, categorize it, decide what it means. The feeling and the thought about the feeling happen in rapid succession, so rapid that they seem simultaneous, but they are not. There is a small gap between them, and in that gap lives a great deal of the noise that clutters your field, the constant commentary, the ongoing evaluation, the mind doing what it does when it is not synchronized with the heart, which is to run slightly ahead of experience, trying to predict and manage it rather than simply receive it. In heart-brain synchronization, that friction reduces. The gap between feeling and thought narrows in a specific way, not because the mind goes quiet exactly, but because the mind and the heart begin to move together rather than in the slight counterpoint that is their ordinary relationship. The commentary softens. The evaluation slows. And what you are left with is a quality of direct perception that feels different from ordinary thinking. It feels more immediate, more certain, less effortful. The knowing arrives whole rather than being assembled piece by piece. This is the state in which the book finds you, not because you are thinking less clearly, but because you are perceiving more directly. The mind is still present and still active, but it is synchronized with the heart rather than running ahead of it. And a synchronized mind-heart system is a more sensitive instrument than either operating alone. Now, I want to give you a practice, not a conceptual exercise, an actual embodied practice that shifts your field into this state, that moves you from the scattered, searching frequency into the coherent, receivable frequency, that makes you findable. I want you to settle where you are. Not dramatically, just let your body find a little more ease than it had a moment ago. If you're holding tension in your shoulders, let them drop slightly. If your jaw is tight, let it soften. You don't need to force relaxation. You just need to stop actively maintaining the tension. Now bring your attention to your heart, not as a metaphor, as a physical location in your chest. Place your hand there if that helps you find it. Feel the weight of your own hand against your sternum. Feel, if you can, the pulse beneath it, the rhythm that has been keeping you alive without your conscious direction for every moment of your existence. Now breathe, but not any breath, a specific breath. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 5. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 5. The equal rhythm matters. It is this equal, rhythmic breathing that begins to smooth your heart rate variability into the coherence pattern. You are not forcing coherence. You are creating the conditions in which coherence naturally emerges. As you breathe this way, bring to mind something you genuinely appreciate, not something you think you should appreciate. Something that produces a real, felt warmth in your chest when you think of it. A person, a place, a moment, a sensation. It doesn't need to be grand. A cup of tea in morning light. A dog's weight against your leg. A piece of music that always finds something in you. The memory of a laugh you couldn't stop. Hold that feeling in your chest as you continue the rhythmic breath. You are not trying to feel anything dramatic. You are simply letting the warmth be there alongside the rhythm. And as you do this, something is happening in your field that you cannot see, but that is measurable. Your heart rate variability is smoothing. Your electromagnetic field is becoming more organized. The information you are broadcasting is clarifying. You are becoming coherent. Stay here for a moment. Keep the breath. Keep the warmth. And now, gently, without grasping, without searching, without needing anything to arrive, hold in your awareness the question of what you are ready for. Not what you want, not what you've been looking for, what you are ready for. There is a difference. Wanting comes from lack. Readiness comes from coherence. Wanting contracts your field. Readiness opens it. Let the question be soft. Let it be open. You are not demanding an answer. You are simply broadcasting the frequency of readiness. You are making your field legible to the quantum field around you. You are becoming findable. Breathe here for as long as feels right. And when you open your eyes or return your attention to the world around you, carry this quality with you, not as an effort, as a residue. The coherence will fade, as it always does, back into the ordinary rhythms of daily life. But it will have shifted your baseline slightly, and each time you return to it, the baseline shifts a little more. This is how you become someone who is perpetually found by what they need, not through one dramatic practice. Through the accumulation of coherent moments that gradually raise the average frequency of your field. Now let me take you into a deeper layer of what is happening when the book arrives. Because there is something beyond the mechanics of coherence that I want you to understand. Something about the nature of information itself and the way your field interacts with it. There is a concept in quantum physics called non-local correlation. You may have encountered it in discussions of quantum entanglement, the phenomenon Einstein famously called spooky action at a distance, where two particles that have interacted remain correlated, regardless of the distance between them. A change in the state of one particle is instantaneously reflected in the state of the other, faster than light, across any distance. This is not theoretical. It has been demonstrated experimentally, repeatedly, with increasing precision, and it is one of the most robustly confirmed phenomena in all of physics. Now, I want to be careful here, because the leap from quantum entanglement to human experience is one that requires precision, not hand-waving. Quantum entanglement, as measured in laboratory conditions, operates at the subatomic level. And the question of whether and how it scales to the level of biological systems is one that is genuinely being explored by physicists and biologists working at the frontier of quantum biology. What has been demonstrated is that quantum coherence operates in biological systems. Photosynthesis, for example, achieves its remarkable efficiency through quantum coherence mechanisms. The navigation of birds uses quantum effects in the retina. The sense of smell may involve quantum tunneling. Biology is not separate from quantum mechanics. It is pervaded by it. What this means for your field is not that you are entangled with every book in every bookshop. The mechanism is more subtle and more interesting than that. It is that your field, when coherent, is capable of detecting and responding to patterns of information in ways that exceed what ordinary sensory processing can explain. Your coherent heart field is not just broadcasting. It is receiving. It is in dialogue with the informational fields of everything around it. And the quality of that dialogue, the precision of what it can detect and respond to, is directly related to the coherence of your signal. Think of it this way. A radio receiver that is perfectly tuned can detect a signal from thousands of miles away. The same receiver with a degraded tuning circuit will miss that signal entirely, even when it is technically within range. Your heart field is the receiver. Coherence is the tuning. What you can detect, what you can be drawn toward, what can find you, is determined by how well tuned your receiver is. And here is the piece that most people miss entirely. The tuning is not just about what you can receive. It is about what you can be detected by. A coherent field is not just a better receiver. It is a more detectable broadcaster. When your field is coherent, it is not just better at finding resonant information. It is more easily found by it. The resonance is bidirectional. The book's field can detect your readiness as surely as your readiness can detect the book. This is the quantum mechanics of being found. You become readable. You become detectable. You broadcast a signal clear enough that the things carrying resonant information are drawn into your field, or you are drawn into theirs through the ordinary mechanisms of daily life, through the arrangement of where you go and what you see and what your hand reaches for, but organized by the deeper logic of field resonance rather than conscious intention. You are not controlling this with your mind. You are enabling it with your field. And that is a distinction that changes everything about how you relate to the experience of synchronicity. There is another layer here that I want to name precisely, because it bears directly on the experience of the book finding you rather than you finding it. It has to do with the difference between the information a book contains and the field a book carries. These are not the same thing. A book's informational content is what you can summarize. The argument, the narrative, the ideas, the conclusions. This is what you absorb when you read with your analytical mind engaged, when you are extracting what's useful and filing it in the appropriate category. This kind of reading is valuable, but it is not what happens when a book finds you. When a book finds you, what lands is not primarily the content. It is the field, the organized coherence of the consciousness that produced it, the specific configuration of understanding that the writer inhabited when they wrote it. And this is something that cannot be summarized or extracted. It can only be received. It enters you not through your analytical processing, but through the resonance between your field and the field embedded in the text. It reorganizes you at a level below where conscious thought operates. This is why the same book can be read twice and feel like two entirely different books. The first time, you extracted the content. The second time, if your field was clearer, you received the field. And the field is where the transformation lives. It is also why certain books resist summary in a way that their readers find difficult to explain. If someone asks you what a book that found you was about, you can give them the surface answer, the plot, the argument, the central idea. But you know, as you say it, that the answer is inadequate, that what the book actually did to you cannot be conveyed in a summary, because what it did was not primarily informational. It was a field event, a reorganization, a recognition, and those things do not reduce to content. This distinction matters for how you approach reading itself. If you approach a book primarily as an information delivery system, you will extract content from it and miss its field. If you approach it in a state of coherent openness, the way your field naturally orients when you are in the state of findability, you will receive both. The content and the coherence beneath it, the information and the field that organized it. And the second is always the more transformative of the two. Let me go even deeper into something that I think is one of the most important and least understood aspects of this entire dynamic. It is the question of what makes you ready. Not in the general sense of personal growth and inner work, though those matter, but in the specific, field-level sense of what shifts in your electromagnetic signature when you cross from not yet ready to ready. Because readiness is not something you decide. It is something that happens in your field, and it has a specific signature. The signature of readiness, as I have observed it, and as the science of heart coherence illuminates it, has three components. The first is release. The second is openness. The third is what I can only describe as a quality of interior spaciousness. Let me explain each one. Release is the most counterintuitive of the three, because it is not the release of wanting. It is the release of the effortful management of wanting. Mara didn't stop wanting what she had been searching for. She stopped working so hard to control the search. Declan didn't stop wanting to understand himself. He lost the capacity to maintain the careful containment of that wanting. Solane didn't stop caring about her growth. She simply, for one unguarded Tuesday evening in a warm kitchen, stopped watching herself care. Release, in the field sense, is the moment when the energy you have been using to manage and control and direct your searching becomes available for something else. It is the energetic equivalent of unclenching a fist. The blood flows back into the hand. The sensitivity returns. When you release in this way, your heart rate variability changes measurably. The jagged, high-effort pattern of controlled searching softens, not into emptiness, into something more like readiness. The coherence that was being suppressed by effort begins to emerge. Openness is the second component, and it is related to but distinct from release. Openness is a quality of receptivity in the field. It is the state in which your electromagnetic field is not just broadcasting, but genuinely receiving. Most of us, most of the time, are primarily broadcasting. We are putting out our signal, our needs, our questions, our intentions. And we are not, at the same time, genuinely open to receiving a response we didn't anticipate. We are open to receiving confirmation of what we already believe we need. But genuine openness, field-level openness, is the willingness to receive something you didn't know you needed. Something that might reorganize what you thought you were looking for. Something that might be the answer to a question you hadn't yet formed. This quality of openness has a specific feeling in the body. It feels like a slight expansion in the chest, like the breath going a little deeper than usual without effort, like the eyes softening their focus slightly, taking in more of the periphery. These are not metaphors. These are the physical sensations of a field that is genuinely receiving rather than just broadcasting. And the third component, interior spaciousness, is the hardest to describe, but perhaps the most important. It is the quality of having room inside you for something new. Not conceptual room, energetic room. The sense that there is space in your field for information that isn't already there. This is what gets created when you release the effortful search and open to genuine receiving, a kind of interior clearing, a spaciousness that is not emptiness, but possibility. When all three of these components are present simultaneously, release, openness, and interior spaciousness, your field reaches what I think of as the threshold of findability. You become someone the quantum field can deliver to. You become someone the book can find. And here is what is extraordinary about this threshold. It is not a high bar. It does not require years of meditation or advanced spiritual practice or a dramatic life crisis. It requires a moment of genuine coherence, a moment of real release, a moment of authentic openness. These moments are available to you in ordinary life, in ordinary circumstances, at any time. The practice I gave you earlier is one way to access them deliberately, but they also arise naturally, in the aftermath of a good laugh, in the silence after a piece of music ends, in the particular quality of light on a late afternoon, in the moment after you finish crying, when something in you feels unexpectedly clear. These are all threshold moments. These are all moments when your field is in the state of findability. And if you begin to recognize them, if you begin to feel the specific quality of your field in those moments and understand what it means, you can begin to extend them, to inhabit them more fully, to become, gradually, someone for whom that threshold state is not an occasional accident, but a cultivated baseline. I want to talk now about something that runs counter to everything I've just described, because I think it's important to be honest about the forces that work against this state, the forces that keep most people in the scattered, searching, unfindable frequency. Because understanding what dims your signal is as important as understanding how to clarify it. The primary dimmer of your findability field is what I'll call the urgency trap. And most of us live in it most of the time. The urgency trap is the state of treating everything as an emergency. Not because everything is an emergency, but because the nervous system has been trained by culture, by conditioning, by the particular pressures of modern life to maintain a baseline of urgency, to experience time as always running out, to experience need as always pressing, to experience the search for what matters as something that must be done better, harder, more efficiently, or it will be too late. This urgency is a coherence killer of the first order, because urgency produces exactly the physiological state that generates an incoherent heart field. The stress hormones that urgency releases, cortisol, adrenaline, the whole cascade of the fight or flight response, these directly suppress heart rate variability coherence. They produce the jagged, irregular, static broadcasting field of a system under threat. And a system under threat is not a system that can be found by what it needs. It is a system that can only react to what is immediately in front of it. This is why the book doesn't find you when you're in a hurry. This is why the right conversation doesn't happen when you're anxious. This is why the insight you've been reaching for arrives in the shower, in the moment of waking, in the quiet after a meal, in the spaces between urgency rather than in the urgency itself. The urgency trap is not your fault. It is a trained response, but it is one you can recognize, and in the recognition, begin to release. Not all at once, not permanently, but in the specific moments when you choose to step out of it, when you choose to breathe instead of rush, when you choose to open instead of grasp, when you choose to trust that what is meant to find you will find you, and that your job is not to chase it, but to become findable. This is a radical act in a culture of urgency. It is also a quantum act, because every time you step out of urgency and into coherence, you shift your field from static to signal. And a clear signal, always findable. There is something else I want to address, because I know it will arise for some of you. And it is the question of worthiness, the quiet, persistent belief, often unconscious, that the things that find other people, the right book at the right moment, the conversation that changes everything, the insight that reorganizes your understanding, that these things find other people because other people are somehow more ready, more open, more spiritually advanced, more worthy of being found. This belief is itself a field dimmer, and I want to dismantle it as precisely as I can. Your field does not know worthiness. Your electromagnetic field does not have a worthiness sensor. It does not check your spiritual credentials before deciding whether to become coherent. It does not evaluate your past choices or your current confusion or the distance between where you are and where you think you should be. It responds to one thing only: its current state. Is it coherent or incoherent? Is it broadcasting a clear signal or static? Is it open or contracted? That's it. That's the entire evaluation, which means that the person who feels the least worthy, the most confused, the furthest from where they think they should be, can be found by exactly what they need, in exactly the same way as someone who has meditated for 20 years and reads spiritual texts before breakfast. The mechanism is the same. The state is the same. Coherence is coherence. Openness is openness. The field does not grade on a curve. What worthiness beliefs do is produce contraction They produce a specific kind of field dimming that comes from the belief that you are not quite enough to deserve what you're reaching for. And that contraction, that held breath quality of not quite deserving, is a coherence suppressor. Not because the universe is punishing you for feeling unworthy, but because the physiological state of feeling unworthy, the slight shame, the held back quality, the sense of needing to prove something before you can receive, these produce exactly the nervous system state that generates an incoherent heart field. The release of worthiness concerns is not just a psychological healing. It is a field intervention. When you release the need to be worthy enough to be found, your field opens. When your field opens, your coherence increases. When your coherence increases, you become findable. The worthiness was never the question. The field state was always the question. And I want to say this directly. You are already worthy of being found, not because you've done enough, or become enough, or proved enough, but because the quantum field does not operate on the basis of worthiness. It operates on the basis of resonance. And your field, in its natural, uncontracted, undimmed state, is a perfectly resonant receiver. You don't need to earn your way into coherence. You need to stop suppressing the coherence that's already there. Let me return now to the book, to the specific experience that this video is really about, because I want to give you something concrete to carry forward, something you can use to recognize when you are in the state of findability and when you are not. There is a felt difference between the state of searching and the state of being found. And once you learn to recognize it, you can begin to choose it more deliberately. The state of searching has a specific quality in the body. It has a forward lean to it, literally and energetically. The attention is projected outward into the future, toward the thing that isn't here yet. There is a slight tension in the chest, a quality of holding the breath slightly, of waiting for something to arrive. The eyes are focused, scanning, looking for the specific thing. The mind is busy, categorizing, evaluating, deciding whether what's in front of it is the thing or not the thing. This is not a bad state. Searching is necessary, but it is not the state in which things find you. The state of being found has a different quality entirely. The attention is present, here, in the body, in the moment, without the forward lean. There is a quality of spaciousness in the chest, of the breath moving more freely. The eyes are soft, taking in more of the periphery. The mind is quieter, not empty, but not urgently categorizing. And there is, underneath all of this, a quality of trust, not naive trust, not the trust that says everything will be fine no matter what, but the specific trust that says what is meant to reach me will reach me. I don't need to chase it. I need to be here for it. This is the posture of findability, and it is available to you right now. I want to give you a second practice, a simpler one, something you can carry into your daily life and use in the ordinary moments when you feel yourself tipping into the urgency trap, into the effortful search, into the contracted frequency of not yet found. It is simply this: when you notice the forward lean, when you feel the tension of searching, when you catch yourself scanning and grasping and evaluating and still not finding, stop. Just stop. For 30 seconds, 1 minute, whatever you can give it. Drop your shoulders, soften your jaw. Let your eyes go slightly unfocused, taking in the room rather than scanning it. Put your hand on your chest if you can do it without drawing attention, and breathe. Equal in, equal out. 5 counts each. And then say, internally or aloud, this single sentence: I am already in the field of what I need. Not as an affirmation in the sense of trying to convince yourself of something you don't believe, as a statement of quantum fact, because it is true. The information you need, the insight you need, the understanding you need, it is in the field around you. It is always in the field around you. The only question is whether your signal is clear enough to detect it. And in this moment, in this breath, in this softening, you are clarifying your signal. You are becoming findable. Do this once a day or 10 times a day. Do it in the moments when you feel the urgency rising. Do it in the moments between tasks. Do it in the moments when you are waiting for something and your mind wants to fill the waiting with searching. Let the waiting be an opening instead. Let the space be a signal. Let the quiet be a broadcast. Over time, this practice reshapes your field's baseline, not dramatically, gradually, the way water reshapes stone, not through force, but through consistent, gentle, coherent contact. Each time you return to coherence, the return becomes slightly easier. The baseline lifts slightly, and the aggregate effect over weeks and months of this practice is that you become someone who lives closer to the threshold of findability. Someone for whom the right book, the right conversation, the right insight arrives more often. Not because you got lucky, because your field became a clear enough signal that the quantum field can assemble around it with precision. Now let me take you into something I've been building toward throughout this entire transmission. Something that I think is the deepest layer of what it means for a book to find you, or a person, or a moment, or a realization. It is the question of what the arrival is actually telling you. When something finds you, when the book arrives, when the conversation happens, when the insight lands with that quality of recognition that feels more like remembering than learning, it is not just delivering information. It is confirming something about your field. It is evidence of your coherence. It is the quantum field's response to the signal you were broadcasting, showing you, in the most concrete possible way, that your signal was clear. This is why the arrival of the right thing at the right moment always feels like more than information. It feels like confirmation. It feels like being seen. It feels like the universe saying yes to something in you. And in a very precise sense, that is exactly what it is. The quantum field is responding to your coherent broadcast with a coherent response. The yes you feel is real. It is the resonance between your field and the field of what found you. It is the felt experience of two coherent systems recognizing each other. And this means that every time something finds you, every time the right book arrives, every time the right words appear, every time the right person shows up, it is not just a gift. It is data. It is information about your field. It is telling you, in this moment, in this state, your signal was clear. Your field was coherent. You were findable. Remember this. Return to this. This is what readiness feels like. The arrivals are not just answers to your questions. They are calibration points for your field. They are showing you what state produces them, so you can cultivate that state more deliberately, more consistently, more consciously. This is what it means to become a conscious broadcaster, not to force the arrival of what you need through sheer intention, but to cultivate the field state that makes arrival possible, to learn from each arrival what your field looks like when it is clear, and to practice returning to that clarity with increasing ease and frequency. You are not waiting to be worthy of what finds you. You are practicing the state in which it can find you. And there is a world of difference between those two orientations. One is passive and dependent on something outside you. The other is active and rooted in the one thing you actually have control over: the state of your own field. I want to speak for a moment to those of you who are in the midst of a long search, who have been reaching for something for a long time, and it has not yet arrived, who are beginning to wonder if the mechanism I'm describing applies to you, or if you are somehow the exception, the one for whom the book doesn't find them, the one for whom the quantum field doesn't respond. There is no exception. The mechanism is universal. But there is something I want to say to you specifically, because the long search has its own particular field signature, and it requires a particular kind of attention. The long search produces a specific kind of exhaustion that is different from ordinary tiredness. It is the exhaustion of sustained hoping, of repeated reaching that hasn't yet been met. And this exhaustion has a field signature. It is a kind of heavy, low coherence state that is neither the jagged static of acute urgency nor the smooth coherence of readiness. It is a dull, depleted signal, not loud enough to be noise, not clear enough to be signal. And the antidote to it is not more effort. It is not a better practice or a stronger intention or a more precise visualization. The antidote is rest, real rest. The kind of rest that Mara found accidentally when her friend moved away. The kind of rest that allows your field to recover its natural coherence without the pressure of the search. This does not mean giving up. It means releasing the effort of the search long enough for your field to recover, long enough for the coherence to re-emerge, long enough to become findable again. If you are in the exhaustion of the long search, the most powerful thing you can do for your field right now is not to try harder. It is to rest, to stop reaching for a defined period of time, to let yourself be without the pressure of finding, to trust that the thing you've been searching for has not given up on you, even if you are giving yourself a rest from searching for it. Because the quantum field does not require your effort. It requires your coherence. And coherence, paradoxically, is most available in the absence of effort. Rest is not defeat. Rest is a field practice. And for those of you in the exhaustion of the long search, it may be the most important practice available to you right now. there is something I want to return to before we close. Something about the book itself, because I've been using the book as a metaphor for all the things that find us when our field is clear. And I want to honor the specificity of the book as a particular kind of object. Because books are not ordinary objects in the way that a chair or a cup is an ordinary object. Books are concentrated fields of coherent human thought and feeling. They are, in a very real sense, crystallized consciousness. When a human being sits down to write something true, something that emerges from their deepest understanding, something that they have lived and felt and thought through with their whole being, they are generating a coherent field. And that field, in some sense, becomes embedded in what they write. Not mystically, not in the sense that the ink itself is charged, but in the sense that the patterns of meaning, the specific organization of ideas, the particular way one thought leads to another, these patterns carry the coherent signature of the state in which they were generated. And a reader who is in a coherent state, who is in the state of genuine openness and interior spaciousness, who is findable, can detect that coherent signature, can feel the resonance between their field and the field of the text, can experience the specific quality of recognition that distinguishes a book that finds you from a book that you merely read. This is why not every book that contains useful information lands the way the right book lands. Information is not the same as coherent resonance. You can read a book that contains everything you need to know and have it slide off you, leaving no trace, because your field was not in a state to receive it. And you can read a book that seems simple, even obvious, and have it reorganize your entire understanding, because your field was perfectly tuned to receive exactly what it was offering. The content is not the only variable. Your field is a variable. Your coherence is a variable. Your readiness is a variable. And these variables are not fixed. They are not determined by your intelligence or your education or your spiritual advancement. They are determined by the state of your field in the moment of encounter, which means that the same book, encountered in two different states, can be two entirely different experiences. And the same person, in two different field states, can have two entirely different relationships with the same text. This is why it is worth returning to books that didn't land the first time. Not all of them, but the ones that you felt something about, even if they didn't open for you. Because you are not the same field you were the last time you tried. You have changed. Your coherence has shifted. Your readiness has evolved. And a book that was closed to you before may be findable now. This is also why the book that finds you now may not be the book you thought you were looking for. The quantum field does not always deliver what you asked for. It delivers what is resonant with your actual current state, which is sometimes different from what you think you need. And the willingness to receive what actually arrives, rather than insisting on receiving only what you were searching for, is itself a mark of field coherence. It is the openness component of readiness in action. I want to add one more layer here, because I think it is the layer that most completely explains the specific experience named in the title of this video. The experience of a book appearing when the quantum field knows you are ready. And the layer is this: readiness is not just a state you arrive at. It is a state that the field around you can detect. This is the piece that takes the longest to truly absorb. We are accustomed to thinking of our inner states as private, as contained within the boundary of the body, as invisible to everything outside us unless we choose to express them in words or actions. But your electromagnetic field does not observe that boundary. It extends beyond your body. It broadcasts, and what it broadcasts includes the information of your current state, including the specific informational signature of readiness. When you are ready for something, when your field has reached the threshold of release, openness, and interior spaciousness, that readiness has a measurable electromagnetic signature. And that signature interacts with the fields of the things around you. The book on the shelf is not a static object waiting passively to be found. It exists within a field. The field of the room. The field of the shop. The field of everyone who has ever held it. And when your readiness signature enters that field, something happens at the level of interaction between fields that influences, through the ordinary mechanisms of where your attention goes and what your body moves toward, the probability of encounter. This is not magic in the sense of something that violates physical law. It is quantum mechanics applied to the scale of biological systems and their environments. The field interactions are real. The influence on attention and movement is real. The result, the book that seems to leap from the shelf. The stranger who says the exact right thing. The conversation that arrives at the exact right moment is the observable outcome of real field dynamics that operate beneath the level of conscious intention. You do not find the book. Your field finds the field of the book, and the meeting happens in the space between, in the quantum dialogue between two organized systems that have reached the threshold of mutual recognition. You experience it as the book finding you. At the level of fields, it is more accurate to say that two coherent systems found each other, and your readiness was the signal that made the meeting possible. Let me bring this now toward integration, because everything I've shared with you today is meant to land not just in your understanding, but in your field, not just as information, but as a shift in how you carry yourself through the world. Here is the integration principle I want to leave you with. It is simple, and it is profound, and it will change the texture of your daily life if you let it. You are not looking for what you need. You are becoming findable by it. This is not a passive position. It is an active one. It requires the ongoing practice of coherence, the ongoing release of urgency, the ongoing cultivation of openness and interior spaciousness. It requires the willingness to rest when you are exhausted from searching. It requires the willingness to receive what arrives rather than only what you asked for. It requires the ongoing practice of trusting that your field, when clear, is a perfectly adequate signal for the quantum field to respond to. But it is not the effortful, grasping, scanning, urgently reaching position of the searcher. It is the open, coherent, present, receivable position of someone who has learned to trust their own field. Someone who knows that their signal, when clear, is enough. That their readiness, when genuine, is sufficient. That the quantum field is not withholding anything from them. It is simply waiting for their signal to be clear enough to read. You have always been radiating. You have always been broadcasting. The question has never been whether your field is active. It has always been whether your field is coherent, whether your signal is clear, whether you are in the state that makes you findable. And now you know the difference between the two states. You know what the searching frequency feels like in your body. You know what the findable frequency feels like. You know the practice that shifts you from one to the other. You know what release, openness, and interior spaciousness feel like, and what they do to your electromagnetic field. You know why the book finds you when it does, and you know what you can do to make that happening not a rare accident, but a regular feature of your life. Your field is real. Your coherence is real. Your readiness is real. and the things that are meant to find you are real. They are in the field around you right now, waiting for your signal to be clear enough to detect them, waiting for you to become findable. You already are in this moment, in this breath, in this particular quality of attention you've been giving to these words. You are already in the state of findability. You are already coherent enough to be found. Whatever is meant to arrive next in your life, whatever book, whatever conversation, whatever insight, whatever reorganizing recognition, your field is clear enough to receive it. Feel that. Let it land in your body, not just your mind. The spaciousness of it, the relief of it, the quiet power of it. You don't have to reach any further. You don't have to search any harder. You don't have to become any more worthy or advanced or ready than you already are in this moment. You are already in the field of what you need. And what you need already knows how to find you. Your signal is clear. Your field is open. Your light is on. Welcome to the experience of being found. If this transmission wants to keep working in you, return to it in a morning stillness before the day takes hold, or in the quiet just before sleep, when your field is most open and receptive. And if someone in your life is in the exhaustion of a long search, consider sending this to them. When you share something that carries a coherent field, you are not just passing along information. You are activating someone else's awareness of their own readiness, creating a resonance between your fields that strengthens both, and adding one more point of light to the collective signal we are all building together. Before you go, I want to ask you something. Has a book ever found you? Has a conversation, a person, a piece of music, a single sentence arrived in your life at a moment when it could only have been exactly what you needed? I want to hear about it. Share it in the comments, not just as a story, but as data, as evidence of your field's coherence in that moment, as a record of what it felt like to be found. Because your story matters to this community, and it may be exactly what someone else needs to read today. It may be the thing that finds them. And if this transmission found you today, if something in what I've shared has landed in a way that feels like recognition rather than information, trust that. That feeling is not imagination. That is your coherent field, recognizing a resonant signal. That is the quantum field delivering exactly what your readiness called for. You were ready for this. That's why it found you.